This is the hottest record in the world.
We have been waiting for this for a very, very long time. Gorillaz are back with a brand new album, and we have got 2 tracks from it to play for you exclusively tonight on BBC Radio 1. And joining me in the studio is the visionary behind the project, the man, the myth, the legend.
The man in the glasses.
Damon Albarn is with us. Damon, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
So when's the album out?
Well, it's been finished for a while, you know.
Okay.
I finished it at the end of last year. I'm desperate for it to come out. I'm not exactly sure when it's coming out, but it feels like it's beginning to come out.
So if you get the deluxe version, I think it's, 26 tracks or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So what's the narrative for it? Humanz is the title.
Humanz, yeah, it is, with a Z, which I suppose is kind of, simply put, is, you know, we're in transition. We're turning into something else. But the album's kind of came from this dark fantasy of, which I suppose came into my head beginning of last year, which was like, just imagine the weirdest, unpredictable thing happening that changes everything about the world. How will you feel on that night? How will you kind of go out? Will you go and get drunk? Will you just stay at home? Will you just watch TV? Will you talk to people? And, you know, and I suppose we were imagining the idea of Donald Trump, you know, it's not about Donald Trump.
No.
At all. But it was imagining that happening in a way. That was our dark fantasy, and unfortunately it became reality, you know. So yeah, it's got an interesting kind of atmosphere about it, this record, because it's a party record. It's a club record.
Yeah.
But it's got this weird sort of darkness about it.
Let's play a track from it, and this will be the first time that anybody will have heard this particular track. It's Andromeda.
With Dram, yeah.
Yeah. Damon Albarn is with us. It's BBC Radio 1. We are bringing you new music from Gorillaz, world exclusive, and this is first of 2 tracks featuring Dram. This is called Andromeda. Brand new music from Gorillaz. That will be the first time that you will have heard that. Called Andromeda featuring Dram, and Damon Albarn is still in the studio with us. The fact that you can kind of, you know, come from a rock band in Blur and then go and make an album that people can't categorise, and then go and take some time out and go and do Africa Express, go and make an album with Bobby Womack, and then come back to Gorillaz. How does that feel musically for you?
Well, Gorillaz is always kind of, it's the one place where I know I can just do whatever I like. The blueprint is just is a drum machine and a synthesizer always. And as a kid, I had a monophonic synthesizer called a Transcendent 2000, and I had a strobe light that my dad had given me, which he'd used at the UFO club when he was doing the lighting with the Boyle family for Pink Floyd.
Wow.
So it's got a history of this strobe light. But I had this in my bedroom, and I had this really crap synthesizer, and I used to put on 12 inches, things like the Human League, and, you know, put my strobe on and play around and on my synthesizer. I mean, you know, maybe I should have been getting out more. But that's kind of where the point is that's kind of where I started making music. Before I was in a band, before I met Graham Coxon and formed Blur.
So this is the kind of record that you 100% wanted to make as a child in your bedroom?
Yeah. I mean, the circumstances and the world that I live in are obviously unimaginable from when I was that age. But Andromeda was this nightclub in Colchester where they played soul music. You know, there wasn't a lot of that around in the early 80s in Essex. But there was that Essex soul boy kind of thing that existed. You know, it was a positive thing in a quite grim world.
Do you know what? My thing is that music is the one universal language that we've got.
Yeah.
And I think that's got the power to unite people from wherever it may be. And that seems to be a motif of all of your work, and especially with the Gorillaz projects, where you will reach out to artists that people would never associate you working with. And on this new album, there's lots of new, young artists that people are like, I know will blow people's minds when they see the fact that you've done a track with Rag and Bone Man, you've done a track with Ray Black.
Yeah, Vince Staples.
I want to talk to you about this other track that we've got to play, which is you and Popcaan, which I think a lot of people would never have put you with Popcaan. I know you know your reggae. I know you know your dancehall. I know you are a fan. But Popcaan is one of the brand new school that's only really just finding his feet now.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was really interesting. I mean, we had to wait a while.
Jamaica.
But it didn't matter because we were there anyway.
Yeah.
You know, he came with quite a few of his friends. So the session started at about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we've been waiting since... How long have we been waiting, Daniel? 12 hours, yeah. in which obviously two things I'd done quite a lot of.
You're in Jamaica, it's the law.
And I was maybe looking for a third at that point. Keep myself focused.
Blue Mountain Coffee, obviously, is what we're talking about.
Hey, you can interpret that however you like. And then we kind of worked all night, and at the end of it, I wasn't really feeling it. I don't know why. And then next day, had a chat and communicated. And he came in and he did this, and I think this is quite different to anything else he's done. I mean, it's very personal. It tells a kind of an alternate narrative to a lot of the kind of ideas within modern dancehall.
Yes.
So I've become quite a diplomat, really, haven't I?
You have.
Over the years.
It's true, though. It is very true. And this is the most honest that I've heard.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Of course.
So, yeah. And then he came out with this, and it just fitted perfectly. My point is, I don't just work with people, only if we get that connection, and we definitely got that connection. And we've got this crazy tune. I mean, it doesn't sound like anything else.
Well, we need to hear the record now. Gorillaz featuring Popcaan from the album Humanz. This is another world exclusive, the hottest record in the world. This is called Saturnz Barz on BBC Radio 1. The sounds of Gorillaz featuring Popcaan, that is Saturnz Barz, the second of two exclusive records from the album Humanz that we are bringing you tonight. Damon Albarn is still with us. How do you pick the collaborators? I have to ask, how do you pick them?
It's such a random process, I mean, we kind of, I suppose we think about tone of voice and what they do and whether. I mean, we've tried out a lot of people, and some people just don't. Either they don't have the kind of life experience that a record like this requires, and that's got nothing to do with age. It's just where you are at that point.
Of course,
and it's an understanding of. And then some people just aren't into the sort of the darkness of music that I make. They're just not. They just don't feel what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? They feel uncomfortable with that, and so you can. I've tried that many times, and there just isn't that connection. So it doesn't have to work with everybody, But you learn from those experiences. I think I learn a lot more in a way than the ones that work.
That's something that I think is really interesting with this whole project, because when you look at what seems to be happening with the business side of music at the moment and streaming being king, you've made an album that has a narrative that has.
Well, no one told me that that's not what people do anymore. I'm only just starting to realise that. I need to get out more.
But what have you been listening to? What's the kind of stuff that you've been listening to get inspired?
I watched a lot of Earth, Wind and Fire videos, live videos. That's where I want to be. I want to be in Earth, Wind and Fire. I don't care if I'm nearly 50.
To be fair, I think anybody that sees Earth, Wind and Fire performing live wants to be in Earth, Wind and Fire.
Exactly, who wouldn't? So, I mean, that's what I'm going for this year. I'm going for, public midlife crisis kind of performance. Dancing,
You've announced
silver jumpsuit.
Silver jump with the codpiece and everything.
Yeah, maybe.
Go for it, mate. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us.
No, man, it's great. Thank you. You should get me in here more often.
You are more than welcome. Do you know what? The next time you come in, we'll do a party playlist.
But I want to do that. You know that thing you do where you put a beat on and then people rap over the top of it.
Fire in the booth?
Fire in the booth
with Charlie.
I want to do Fire in the Booth.
You want to do a Fire in the Booth?
I want to do Fire in the Booth. I want to set up some instruments. You give me a beat and I'll make you a tune straight away.
Done deal. I'm going to talk to Charlie. I'm going to steal the feature. And you're going to come and do it, Fire in the
Yeah,
Booth.
exactly. Let's do it. It's the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no difference.
It's family.
Yeah, exactly.
Damon, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
BBC
Radio.